Hey Anchor Point family, my name is Jonathan Burnett. I have been going to Anchor Point for just a little bit under 2 years, and I'm so glad that I've been called to this community. I was asked to do this devotional video and just share something that I've been learning or that God's been speaking to me during this time. And so I wanted to take some time today and talk about something that I've actually been struggling with over the last couple of weeks. And a little bit about me. I work in medical manufacturing, so as you can imagine, when this whole pandemic thing kicked off, we got super busy, and it was great, really. I actually enjoy being busy. I'm the kind of guy who's always on the go, so I didn't mind. When things are normal, my weeks are normally full of different fellowship and fun things. Games night at the Powlings, mentorship at Josh's, making music at the Wagners. It's always a good time, but things are a little bit different now. Being busy also keeps me on track with my free time. It really shows me the value of my free time, and I always make sure to use it effectively. I don't waste my time. I fill it with things that I know are good for me, and I know that I can't say later to those things because most of the time later I have somewhere to be or someone to hang out with. So my free time when I'm busy is normally just jam-packed with prayer, Bible reading, really just focusing on Christ and as my calling to be a follower of Christ. But as quickly as my busy schedule came of working nonstop, it went. And I found myself with a long weekend. So what should I do? Normally my weekends would be full of fellowship, but not so much anymore. And with the world transitioning to online fellowship, I found myself somewhat out of the loop. I had kind of avoided adapting to that in my busyness. So when the long weekend did come my way, I was excited. I thought to myself, I'll use this time to study and pray and just be with God. And that brings me to the topic of this video, being sidetracked and strategies against it. As a follower of Christ, I have this deep desire to get to know my God and Savior more and more every day. I know that good ways to do this are through the Word and prayer, and so I constantly have this desire to read more and pray more, and I hope that you do too. But as it stands, I'm an easily distracted person. I am such an easily distracted person. And my desires often get sidetracked before they come to any sort of action. Sometimes I get distracted by some form of cheap entertainment, like Netflix or video games or YouTube. And when I give in to these things and I spend way too much time on them, I always just feel like crap, because I neglect the other things. I don't pray. I don't read my Bible in lieu of being distracted by these things that can be so time-consuming and not productive at all. And on the other hand, sometimes I get distracted by more innocent things, more productive things. Things like cleaning my bedroom or doing the dishes, cleaning, baking, maybe practicing music. These are really good things. They're productive things. They keep my house clean. They keep me fed, and honing my gifts that I've been given by God is important. I don't want to neglect those either. But at the end of the day, if I do all of these good things and still don't make the time to do other important things like pray, read my Bible, and focus on Jesus, I think I miss the point. These distractions, whether productive or non-productive, keep my eyes away from the cross and what it looks like to be a follower of Christ. And just a few weeks ago, Tom spoke about the one thing and read the story of Mary and Martha from Luke chapter 10. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And so I've been experimenting with strategies to fight these different distractions to varying degrees of effectiveness. My first strategy was I obviously had to identify what was distracting me and what was causing the most time, or wasting the most time. And for me, a lot of it was this cheap entertainment. YouTube video games, Netflix, just stuff that keeps you entertained but isn't exactly great for you. And my first strategy to fight these distractions was to work prayer and study into a discipline as opposed to desire. And for me, that meant making prayer and study part of every day without exception. And it seemed like a daunting task at first. It seemed like, oh man, like I don't know if I've got time for this every day. And so I set the bar kind of low. I actually set the bar super low. My expectation on myself was to pray for 5 to 10 minutes in a day, which is no time at all, goes by like that, and read one chapter of the Bible, whatever chapter I feel like reading. So some days I read what Josh and I are studying together, and some days I read whatever I want. And the beautiful thing about setting these small, reasonable expectations on myself is A, I'm motivated to do them, and B, they always turn into so much more. That's what I find. When I start praying, I just keep praying and keep praying and keep praying. But it's never just a 5-minute thing. And same with reading my Bible. When I sit down and I start reading my Bible, that's the big roadblock. Once I start reading my Bible, I like to keep reading and keep learning and keep focusing on God. And the strategy I use for fighting my more time-consuming, less productive distractions is having someone to hold me accountable. And I'm fortunate enough to have a mentor through Anchor Point who will lovingly hold me accountable to my resolve to only use cheap entertainment on Saturday and Sunday, only play video games on the weekend, and not let those fill up my whole week. And so here's my challenge to you. Challenge number 1 is fight productive distractions, things that just kind of sidetrack you, cleaning, cooking, whatever it might be, by working prayer and study into a discipline, from a desire into a discipline, something that is just ingrained in you. And 2, fight your non-productive distractions, like cheap entertainment, whatever it might be, that takes up too much of your time, and you know it takes up too much of your time, by finding someone you know will hold you accountable to your resolve to cut back on these things, and do it in a loving way. And that will help. I mean, that's helped me immensely, and I hope it helps you just as much. If you're looking for a place to start reading and pray about, you can check out Luke 10. I mentioned it, and I didn't read it just for this reason. It's the story of Mary and Martha. And that's it for me, guys. I miss you guys. I love you guys. I really hope we can start meeting again soon. On Sunday mornings, anyway. Anyway, peace!